What's up, guys? I just came back from the Build event in Texas. We were down in Dallas for an entire week, and this is an event specifically for eXp agents, but it's not put on by eXp Realty, the company. This is agent produced, agent led. All the speakers are agents, and it was an amazing time to come and connect with people, really to network too with the people that are outside of Hawaii. Really the biggest takeaway that I had, I just needed to get out of the bubble and kind of talk to people who are doing business greater than I am and hear their stories of success and how they started and how they got to where they are today. So let's kind of recap what that week was like for me in Dallas, Texas, and then I'll tell you my takeaways. Okay, so for this video, I'm just gonna kind of recap my notes because I literally have 15 pages of notes that I took from this event. Almost every speaker made me cry because they cried on stage, and it literally was such heartfelt feelings. Everybody went through a lot of struggle in their life, which was one common thread throughout all the speakers. So these are agents who have started at ground zero. We all start with zero sales, right? We all start at the bottom and have to find our way of how to build a real business, not just a transactional business. And so one of the first speakers was Joseph Trujillo. He's been with eXp for 4 years, and now he has over 775 agents in his organization, and that's just an amazing testament to his hard work ethic. But the quote that I had from him was that each transaction you do, you need to network with the co-op agent, when that's the agent who is on the other side, right? And so we should be building relationships and never burning bridges, because eventually you're gonna have to walk across that bridge again, right? And so really just the power of relationships and leveraging who you know. That was a big takeaway. So Terrence Murphy was speaker number 2, super killer agent. His Instagram is @Terrence Realtor if you want to look him up, but he was going over the 7 streams of income for a realtor entrepreneur, right? We don't just do transactions. There are multiple ways you can create income for your business. And one of the things we hear all the time is that most millionaires have 7 streams of income. And so he kind of listed those out and how that's possible for an agent. So number 1 was active income. That's your sales and your referrals, right? Number 2 is going to be residual income, your agent equity or the stock program that eXp can provide. Number 3 is to grow a team. So that's just running your business through your team members. You're not physically in the transaction, but you're getting a nice cut from that. Number 4 is rev share. And so that's just, again, through naturally and organically people coming to you saying, hey, I like what you're doing as a business. I want to partner with you. And they join your organization. Number 5 is to be investing in equity partners like real estate property. So going in fractional ownership or some kind of passive real estate investment. Number 6 is to become a mentor, which is what I'm doing right now. I have about 8 people underneath me that I help train and mentor. And every time they close a deal for the first 3, I get 10%. So that's pretty nice. And then number 7 way to get income is just dividends from stock. And so that's having this stock grow without you even thinking about it and being able to withdraw that equity anytime you need it for leverage in your next step of your business. So there's 7 ways you can create income right there with this business model. Okay, and then the crazy awesome Tina CAUL came on stage. I didn't really know of her much. I think I've seen her TikToks here and there, but her story is incredible, and the amount of influence she's had in the South is just awesome to see her results. One quote she said was, "If it's to be, it's up to me." And that's a real testament to just no one's gonna build your business for you. You have to figure it out. You have to take the daily action steps to get there and surround yourself with the right people. Her thing was all about leverage, systems, technology, people. 80% of agents don't know how to leverage the most important ones. And her big motivator in her business and how they kind of like run through the numbers is they do ISAs, which is an inside sales agent. So they really leverage having a team of people who are on the phones. And this is something we kind of learned from Michael Reese this last week in Hawaii, was having the power of an ISA. You don't have to cold call. You can warm call in the sense of just really creating that backbone of your business that runs without you. So all you have to do is in the morning, great, I've got 10 people who are ready to go. I'm not wasting my time calling 100 people. That was a big one. Okay, the next speaker I'm going to talk about was Michelle Wilson. She was originally out of Seattle area in Washington. Incredible, incredible woman and mother, and I bawled my eyes out with her story because she was so authentic and so real. And it's not very often that we hear from agents who are killing their business and also killing it as a mom, meaning they're a present mother, they put their family first 110%, but she wasn't always that way. And so she talked about how she was with another company. It was a blue and white company, and what's the natural progression of business, right? So first you crush sales, then you build a team, and then you own a franchise, and then you expand from there and you have multiple franchises. Well, during that business and her trying to get to what the top of that brokerage was meant that her family suffered, and she ended up going through a really sad divorce. Her daughter was really young when that happened, and it was a shakeup that she needed to say, you know what, this is not working and this model is broken. I will never be free as an agent. I will never have the business that I want where I was at. And so once she finally took a hard look, she did a full reset, kind of what Nisa and Travis did, where they had to go to Bali and like really clear out the old brokerage model and think, what do I want in my business and how am I going to get there? Now she's at a place in her life, just fast forward 2 years later, where she's able to really put boundaries up. She works from home. She's with her daughter. She's able to take her to and from preschool every day. They travel nonstop and they kind of live this nomadic lifestyle between Arizona and the Pacific Northwest. And I just related so much to her because honestly, this last season of life, like I would say basically February until July, I have been in grind mode and I haven't been the best mom. And I've just been putting work first. And my family has been back end. And I've just been defaulting to think, oh, Ryan's got it. You know, like the husband's on daddy duty. It's not fair to him. It's not fair to my kids. Yes, my business is thriving, but if my family is suffering, I also can't show up as the best person in business if my emotional status is not there. And so it was a huge shakeup for me to be like, what I'm doing is not working. Yes, I am building something right now, but it should not come at the sacrifice of my family or the ability for me to be a better mom. And so I think just hearing her story was so powerful. It hit a chord in me for sure to step back and think like, this is not sustainable. What I'm doing is not sustainable. So I need to be super intentional about where I want to go. I then ran into Michelle at a coffee shop later that week in the hotel, talked to her again and was just saying like, thank you so much for being vulnerable and super authentic. And it's scary to admit that you were a crappy wife at one point, you know, and you did put your business first. So it took a lot of guts for her to do that. She has said she's more than open to doing a Zoom training with us in the future. So that's super exciting. We can get her into our Hawaii Zooms over here, which would be great. But I just love hearing stories like that. And I definitely have one inside of me that I will be sharing soon, I think, but it's not easy. I think from the outside, and I've kind of heard this from other agents in my sphere of like, they think I do it all. They literally think I'm this amazing mom and this amazing business entrepreneur, and I'm not. You can't be both. It's impossible. There's no such thing as balance. So it's hard to say that you can like crush it and be the top producer over here, but then also be present and at football and at all the practices and like this, that doesn't exist. There is a trade-off. And so you're gonna have to decide, do I wanna trade my time for work or do I wanna delegate it out so that I can be over here? But it takes a lot of grit and it takes a lot of sacrifice and really just those boundaries. So I'm in it, guys. I'm in the grit. I'm learning it. It was a great, I don't know what it, just the shakeup. I needed the shakeup with this event. So Michelle was awesome. Okay. And then Frederick came up, who's actually one of the corporate leaders for eXp Realty, but he came on stage. He's such an amazing speaker, really draws you in and is a great storyteller. But his question to us was, what is your most productive decade in your life? Is it your 20 to 30s? Is it your 30 to 40s? Is it your 40 to 50s, etc.? Most people said between 40 and 50 is what they thought was like the peak of their career, right? And he actually goes on to say that it should be, and most of the time it is, your 60s to 70s, and second is your 70s to 80s. And we were all going, what? Why? Like that's retirement age. How is that possibly your most productive? And it goes back to quality of life, right? Because when you hit that 60 to 80 mark, you're actually slowing down in your career. You're able to say, I want to spend intentional family time. I'm gonna put the vacation first. I'm gonna put the kids' birthdays first. And you're really just being super intentional about that. And that just comes with wisdom and grace and again, quality of life. And so he said, let's see, he went over like the 90-year-old's biggest regrets when they're on their deathbed or when they're passing away, right? What are those big things? And number one was not celebrating enough in their lifetime. And that one hits a chord because I for sure am guilty. Quick story time, which my husband's not gonna love the story, but we had our 10-year anniversary this last month. And I chose to go to a team dinner because someone was leaving the state instead of celebrating our anniversary. And I told him, I said, we'll just celebrate later and that's okay. But he, even though he agreed to it and was like, sure, you can go to this thing, he was hurt. And that was not cool of me to say, we can celebrate that later. I should have known, poor wife for this, I should have known the team dinner can wait, we can reschedule it. I need to be with my husband this evening and just have quality time. And so that's the thing, not celebrating enough, or even successful for business, right? Not celebrating your wins in business. How many of us are doing that where we're just like, oh, this is great, but I'm just chasing the next thing. I'm chasing the next thing. And we're not able to slow down and actually look back and reflect of, wow, I've come a long way in 1 year or 6 months, and let me just take the day off or go to dinner or whatever that thing is and pop the bubbly. I don't do that enough and I definitely need to. Second thing for biggest regrets of 90-year-olds was they wish that they risked more. They wish in their lifetime they had put more risk on their business, on their family, maybe whatever that was, but they didn't take enough chances. I feel like I align with that in some sense, but I'm starting to get there. I think that's just coming through the entrepreneurial journey, right? You fail forward. And so if we're not at least 5% uncomfortable, we're not doing it it right. There needs to be like that little feeling in your stomach of like, oh gosh, is this enough? Or I have no idea this is gonna turn out okay, but we're gonna do it anyways. And just really being willing to fail and putting a little bit of risk out there. That was a big one. Okay, the third thing that 90-year-olds wish that they had done more in their life was they wish they would have left something behind. I definitely strike a chord with this one. The reason I'm working so hard, the reason that we're trying to build this business is a legacy, right? That's why we do this. It's for our kids, but not only for our kids, but for our kids' kids and their kids. It's what are we leaving behind? And so really you have to look at your business and your life and the things that you're doing today and say like, hey, is this something I'm actually able to leave behind? Do I have a 10-year, 20-year goal for that? What happens at the end of my life? Like, do all I have to show is a retirement account and that's it? Or are you leaving behind property? Are you leaving behind a business that's profitable? It was just such a good message, and he had so many great stories. Okay, so Gene Frederick then closed out with the 5 keys to a life of happiness and significance. So let's go through those real quick. Number 1 was intentionality. So most people have the will to win, but few have the will to prepare to win, right? That's a huge factor. Number 2 was purpose, just having a personal compass and realizing this is where I want to go, and I need to be able to have the blinders up to determine, am I going in the right path? Like, I just think of Moana with her hand, like, are we going in the right direction, you know? Number 3 was goals. There's a book he mentioned called The Compound Effect. I'm definitely gonna look into that one, and just realizing, are the goals actually getting me to where I wanna go, or is it just for my own ego and my own to say, I've done so many sales in my career, blah, blah, blah. Number 4 is grit to get there. Number 5 is growth mindset, and really it's just that positivity. And I think I'm getting to this point in my career where if you're not positive and you're not growth mindset, I have to kind of put a barrier there because I don't have the capacity to, it affects me, right? If there's someone with low energy and a negative mindset and a woe is me, it totally brings me down because I am that empath. I do a great job of listening to people's problems, and as a team leader, I should be doing that. But at a certain extent, it doesn't serve me anymore. And if it keeps me back from getting to where I want to go by surrounding myself with growth-minded people, then I should be doing that instead. So that's a level up in business, is you are the 5 people you surround yourself with. So if I'm with a bunch of people who don't think positively and they're complaining and everything is reactive versus proactive, I've got to physically and intentionally make that effort to surround myself with more positive people. So that was a big takeaway. Gene's great, love him, cried a lot. All right, so a quick recap. I could go on and on and on, and there's honestly so many stories. I have a bunch of B-roll that I took on my vlog camera that we're gonna mash up for you guys to kind of get a feel for. But the first day was all just agents on stage, literally one after the other after other, like probably 68 hours of speakers. And it's incredible to hear their stories, super motivating. I think the one big takeaway I had was they're all just real people. They're not some celebrity influencer. They didn't do anything special. They don't have some special sauce. They just have grit. And they have that compass. They know where they want to go, and they got there, but they're still on the way up. Like so many of these people on stage, some were only with the company for 1 year, some were with the company for 5 years. And it's not a race. It's literally just do what's best for you and your business and your family. And this community will help you get there. Day 2 was great. The first part of the session was all about production. And so we brought in those people who are just crushing their industries with 300 plus listings in a year, and they're telling you exactly, this is how we did it. These are the systems that we used. Super inspirational. Levi Lassick is a big YouTuber who just came up, was never in real estate before 2021, jumped on, linked up with the right people, said, how do I do this the right way? I'm not about to cold call people. Jammed on YouTube, and is now, I think he's produced, I don't even know, like definitely over $1 million in commission, but he's taken over the Dallas market and the Texas market just from YouTube, from a point and shoot camera to say, hey, I'm in this city, like check it out. And they've dominated. Now they're teaching agents how to do that same thing. Super incredible. I think we will be partnering with him this winter, which is in the works, to do some kind of like snowboarding retreat and content day. We'll bring Levi in, and that would be super cool. To wrap up, we had Tony Robbins, which of course is incredible. I've never seen him in person before. His energy is infectious, and to be in a room with so few people was also really special. We only had about 5,000 people in the room, and normally he does stadiums, right? Normally he goes big time where he has 20,000 people together in an auditorium, but to be in a room of 5,000 where he's specifically talking about real estate related issues, and so much of it is mindset, right? He is the mindset guru, but the big takeaway I had was just controlling your state of being. That was the big one, and just really just mastering your mind. So I'm gonna do a separate video to talk about my Tony Robbins notes, but with that, that's a quick recap of Build Event. It was so powerful. I'm on a mission next year to bring 20 people with me because you can't get that energy and that momentum without being in person. That's really the power of events that are live and in person and off of the computer. So we will be in touch with the next couple ones. I'll see you guys soon.